So over the last decade or so, many people have felt something change, not just in technology, but in people themselves. The way we talk, the way we listen, the way we sit with ourselves, the way we enjoy simple things. It's hard to point to a single moment where it happened, but it feels like a shift that's already kind of underway. So this here isn't like a story about smartphones being bad or people being weak or nostalgia for some imagined kind of golden age. So it's a story about what happens to the human mind when the environment it lives in changes faster than it can consciously adapt to. So psychology tells us that humans are shaped by what they repeatedly attend to. Attention isn't just a spotlight, it's like a training system. So whenever we give our attention, or whatever we give our attention to, again and again, it becomes what our brain learns to expect from reality. For most of human history, attention has had friction. You couldn't instantly escape boredom. You couldn't summon stimulation on demand. Waiting, silence, and slowness weren't flaws in the system. They were part of how meaning formed. Boredom pushed imagination. Anticipation made pleasure deeper. Effort made reward satisfying. So smartphones themselves have quietly, over a little bit of time, have removed that friction. So now, stimulation, well, with phones, stimulation's constant, it's personalized, and it's just endless. The dopamine, the chemical that signals novelty and reward, is just triggered. It's not by effort or achievement, but it's triggered by availability, like a swipe, a notification, another new clip, a new hit of attention. And then, so if we look at that, psychologically, this matters. It totally matters. So dopamine was never meant to just fire endlessly. It was never meant to do that. It evolved, dopamine evolved to motivate pursuit, not to be like a background state of mind. So when reward becomes infinite and effortless, the brain doesn't feel satisfied at all. It becomes restless. It raises the threshold of what feeling, or it raises the threshold of what feels engaging. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's where something subtle but important happens. So real life itself starts to feel quieter than that used to. So simple things like a walk or a conversation or a shared silence, they don't disappear. But now they demand something smartphones don't. Sustained, uncontested attention. And attention today is no longer neutral. It's under constant pressure. It's competing. It's fragmented, and it's just pulled all of the time. So within that, people adapt as well. So people don't stop feeling. They don't stop wanting connection. So, but instead, I would say they learn to skim experience rather than enter it fully. Monitor moments instead of inhabiting them. They reach for stimulation. The instant emotional intensity drops. It's not because they're broken, but because the nervous system has been trained to expect more. So this is where connection changes. Human connection has always required persistence, risk, time, awkward pauses, emotional ambiguity, shared rhythms. So the human connections always required this presence of what I've just said there. But in the world we're in now, where attention can just be drawn up like instantly, connection becomes easier. It becomes a bit thinner. There's more contact, but less depth. There's more messaging, or there's less attunement. There's more visibility, but less intimacy. The psychology shows us that real bonding depends on synchrony. Is that the right word? Synchronicity or something like that. So eye contact, timing, tone, physical presence. So the phone stimulates connection, but they don't complete any circuit. This is why people can be constantly connected but still feel like deeply lonely. Creates a strange tension in modern life. Like people are rarely alone, but they just feel unseen. People are rarely bored, but they feel unfulfilled. And they're constantly stimulated, but they're like dissatisfied. So the fear that emerges from all this, it is a real fear, by the way. This is a real fear. Is that we're becoming different. We're becoming different human beings. There's like something fundamental changing. There's like a shift changing. Well, like changing, or we're adapting into human beings who no longer need like deep connection or simple joy, because we're living primarily inside this digital reality. And that's a scary thing. It's just kind of so psychology, it like suggests something a bit more precise and a bit more sobering. Obviously, we're not seeing the birth of like a new human. It's just kind of more of a mismatch. Like the human brain that we have is ancient. It evolved for like embodied presence to be in the present. It's slow meaning and like real social bonds. So smartphones haven't changed any of that wiring at all. But what it is doing, it's overwhelming it. And this discomfort that people are feeling, the anxiety and the emptiness and the craving and the sense that something is actually missing, is evident of that mismatch. A species that is fully adapted to an environment doesn't ache for what it lost. It just stops missing it. It's difficult, isn't it? We haven't stopped missing it. So I'm going to use an analogy here, and the analogy I'm going to come to is cricket. So cricket, for most of its history, has been it's been a patient game. It's long formats, time for kind of narratives to unfold, space for subtle skill. It rewards endurance, restraint, and intention. Then, obviously, as media has changed and smartphones reshaped how people consume content, cricket is sped up. So now you get the T20 formats, shorter games, bigger hits, faster pair, like playoffs and more highlights. Like, so the game's adapting to the attention economy. And there's the key point. Cricket didn't become worse. It just became different. something was gained. So accessibility, excitement, like the global reach, and then something was also lost, which was patience, depth, the ability to sit with tension for hours and hours. So Test cricket hasn't disappeared at all. It's just became niche. It's became premium, like harder to access, appreciated by fewer people, but maybe more deeply. So human attention, what I'm saying is human attention may be following the same path. Fast stimulation like dominates the surface, but the depth doesn't vanish. It just retreats. It becomes harder, less rewarding, or less rewarded, if you want to put it that way, more intentional. And kind of that's where the danger of this lies, like that not that humans will stop feeling, but that fewer people will train the capacity to feel deeply, and not that the connection will vanish, but that it will require resistance to the default environment that we're in. Not that meaning will die, but that it's just going to stop being ambient. So it's not whether we can fix this by getting rid of the phones, because obviously we can't, and kind of we don't need to. The question is whether we can redesign our relationship with attention before the fragmentation becomes the norm rather than the phase itself, the phase we're going through in human history. Because attention shapes perception, and perception shapes values, and values shape the kind of society we become. And the cricket analogy reminds us of something important. That speed isn't evolution. It's adaptation to context, and adaptation can be conscious or unconscious. And right now, much of humanity is adapting unconsciously. The future it's not decided yet, but we will shape. We'll be shaped, I would say, by the whether we remember what feels slower often carries more meaning, and that not everything worth experience competes for attention. Some things like connection, presence, and joy only reveal themselves the longer we stay.